Now it's in frame this time. Hello, hi, welcome to a new reading vlog. I haven't taken out my hair yet. Oops. This day that I'm starting this is Mother's Day. So that's why this. That's why this. But figured if I'm already gonna be looking pretty, might as well talk about books. The point of this one is that I want to reread books. I'm in the mood of rereading some of my favorites. Right? So there's different reasons for each one, honestly. The first one, the one I do own physically, A Week to Be Wicked, which is now my second favorite test but I did read Wildflower Wager 7 months ago, something like that. Too soon to reread it, even though I did immediately want to reread it. Whoops. But up until I read that one, this was my favorite test so that's part of the reason why I want to reread it, because I love it. Right, one. Two, I wanted to reread it last month, and then I remembered that I usually have a reading slump around beginning of spring, and last year for my birthday I reread this. I think this was last year, maybe the year before, and it helped me get out of the reading slump. And this is just like a yearly thing for me, and it's around that time. So that's reason two. Reason three, the reason why I didn't read it last month, I waited for this month, is because it was one of the options for the book club I run for the May book, because my birthday, so the theme was my favorites, right? So this one and the other romance were options, and there's like a 5-way tie, but this one ended up winning the wheel afterwards. And so I'm forcing a bunch of people to read it, and so I should reread it myself just for the fun of it. And so that's why I'm reading this one. There's 3 reasons for that one. The other romance is Secret Lives, A Country Gentleman. I am in my gay romance era. Hear me out. The yearning and the pining is just spectacular in them, right? And this Secret Lives of a Country Gentleman, I was thinking of rereading it anyways, and it's one of my favorite, I think it is my favorite historical queer romance. So I am contemplating rereading Lady Verduke soon as well, so you know, whatever. Whatever. Anyways, that one I wanted to reread anyways. I'm in the mood for it. That one almost won instead of this one, so perfect excuse. And everything in my body told me to pick it back up. The third one is Sweet Pea. P.S. I love the show. I do love the show. Anyways, I decided at one point, if you've seen for some reason the video where I go through every single series I'm in the middle of, I decided to put it officially on the list, but softy enough, because I want to reread the first one before I try to continue, right? And so for some reason now is like the perfect time. I don't know, I've been thinking of rereading that one as well. There's a similar book, similar vibe that I just got from the library. So I want to reread it before I read that one, right? If that makes sense. So yeah, I'm gonna pick up Sweet Pea again. You just have a good solid time. It's the only non-romance. Because there's a fourth possible, but shortly after this goes up is when I'm going to be bulk recording a bunch of read with me's, right? And so the fourth one that's a possible for this would be really good for those, and that's Beach Read. Beach Read. I have that one physically, but I also have a tea for it now. That Bestie got me for my birthday. Very exciting. Very good. Very delicious and very pretty. But yes, it's been a few years since I've reread Beach Read. And maybe if I reread it, I'll actually pick up Book Lovers. Because I do have that on my 25 and 25, and I need to read it. I'm just scared ever since reading people we meet on vacation and not liking it. Especially in comparison. So I wanna, I'm scared. Especially since, like, in comparison to all her other books, Book Lovers, other than Beach Read, Book Lovers is the one that I would most likely enjoy. So I need to pick it up. So maybe if I reread Beach Read, that'll force me to do it. But that's possible. I don't think that's gonna happen in this. I'm just planning the 2 romances in Sweet Pea. And that's it. That's the intro for this. And maybe at the end of it, I'll have a reading slump. Imagine me, this reading slump. Anyways, thank you for coming to this vlog where it's an excuse for me to reread books that I want to reread instead of all the other things I need to read. It's fine. It's fine. I'll update you when I get somewhere in any of them. I think I should talk about what my ratings of all of them are. This one's a 5. I know that. Secret Lives of Country Gentleman is either a 4.5 or a 5. Should be a 5, honestly. So there's that one. And then Sweet Pea, I think, is a 4. And that's everything. I'm gonna go. Goodbye. And I'll talk to you when I'll probably start Secret Lives of Country Gentleman soon-ish. So I'll update you on that one first, most likely. Like, yes, I know this one's one I actually have to read for my book club, but I'm like a month behind on that. So, like, do I need to immediately read it? No. I could go read Country Gentleman instead. And read that gay, yearning, and pining. That's what the girl's in a mood for. Some time has passed. A few days. It's Wednesday now. No one worry. I did push this back, so there's a chance I do read in this now. How far am I into Secret Lives of Country Gentleman? That's a good question. What are you doing, Bobby? I'm just short of 50%. 159 pages. I have less than 200 pages left. I think I can do that today. Hear me out. The issue was the first Sunday night / Monday. The issue was getting through the first 40 pages of this book for me, which sounds weird because this is one of my favorite books of all time. I'm gonna like that, all right? But the first 40 pages or so of setup, it's like a hump I have to get over, and then once I get over that, once it starts the courtroom scene, you gotta introduce, like, once the characters are introduced, they're in the location that the whole book takes place in now. We set up why Gareth is in court on the stand and how he's connected to Joss, and then we start the courtroom scene. And that's when I start eating it up, because the way I left myself off in the middle of that scene right before Joss comes in to blackmail him without actually saying anything, because of their past relationship, and it is a historical romance, so being gay is a crime, dudes. And so you know, I stopped right before that happens at one point, so that the next time I picked it up I could start there. Great decision on Patty's part, because then I started eating it up. And then the next 50 pages after that, 50 to 60 pages, is just my favorite part of the book. I do need to own it physically just so that I can pick it up and read that section whenever I want, because it's all good. And then now we're at the point where I'm having a good time. I'm just riding that high for the rest of the book, basically, is what's happening. There was a point where I didn't want to put it down last night. I forced myself to go to bed. I didn't want to put it down. And then when I woke up this morning, first thing I did was pick it back up and read like 2 chapters. So, yeah, it's good. Believe it or not, when in a vlog where I reread books, I'm enjoying reading the books. I'm so sane. Anyways, have I told you what it's about? Absolutely not. It follows Gareth, who has just become a baron? One of those, I don't know, proper terminology, after his father's death, who, lives in this marshland that he's never been to before. He was basically abandoned by his father. His half-sister never knew he even existed, so she just assumed she was gonna inherit everything but the title. So that was a shock for her, right? And so he's trying to make up with his sister that he's never met before, and his father's mistress, who is also his stepmother's sister. Because that's the type of man his father was. Anyway, so he's post his father's death trying to understand the type of person his father was. His father spent most of his time walking around the marsh and looking at the wildlife, especially insects. And Gareth has had an interest in this type of stuff beforehand, right? And so with this newfound interest because of his father's death and wanting to understand his father, and that's like the only thing his father cared about apparently, he is just living his life looking at bugs. When he accidentally catches smugglers in the act, and his sister, who he's trying to get to like him, is being courted by somebody in the legal aspect, especially with catching smugglers, and who doesn't really like smugglers. So he's all like, oh yeah, I totally caught some smugglers. I saw some smugglers and I saw one of their faces. And so he's all like, oh, I'm gonna put you on trial. I'm gonna make this whole big thing. And the person who he saw and is putting on trial, who could get hung for this, is Joss's sister. Now Joss and him in London had a relationship. They never knew each other's real names, right? And so Joss tries to send him messages without blatantly saying anything because he's away when all this trial stuff is being set up. Be like, hey, it's me. Please don't get my sister hung. But he doesn't understand the message because he called him Kent. So when the message is, this is Kent, he assumes, yeah, as in the location we live in, because the marsh is in Kent. Anyways, yeah, Joss is like the head of the smugglers, the smuggler family, or whatnot. And so, while Gareth is on trial, Joss runs in and is like, he didn't see anything. It was the middle of the night. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Being like, hey, I have information that could get you arrested and hung, so, or sent into asylum. So, like, don't do that to my sister or else I'll do it to you, kind of thing, right? And of course, after the fact, Gareth has some thoughts and opinions about that. 100% valid in those. The, like, only complaint about this whole book is that, like, a week passes after everything, after the initial conversation about after that and all that fun stuff, and, Gareth apologizes for making him do that. In a way, kind of apologizes for making him do that, and also not fully understanding. Like, Joss does apologize multiple times because he does feel really bad and guilty about doing that to him, making him look bad in front of everybody in this new area he just moved to, right? Including his half-sister. So then, so he does feel bad, and he does apologize, but then at a later point, Gareth apologizes to him for making him do that, and, like, that doesn't, it feels a little off. Like, I'm sorry if somebody threatens to out me, I'm not going to apologize for making them feel like they have to do that. Right? There's also, like, this whole aspect where part of it was kind of revenge for the way that, Gareth broke it off with him when they were in London, and all this stuff. Anyways, now they're, hanging out in the marshland, looking at bugs together, while also, and also there's a secret conspiracy about what his father was doing, because there's now a competing smuggler group that are attacking Gareth and his family, well, Gareth and his sister, over something his father did, and they're all like, keep your mouth shut and don't talk to any of these people about it. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, well, you can say that all you want, but keep your mouth shut. And I'm not going to tell you in case you don't actually know. So I'm going to threaten you, assuming you know. But if you don't know, well, I'm still threatening you and not telling you what I'm threatening you over. So now you're just panicking about why the hell am I being threatened in my own home. And so Joss is trying to help him out with that. And it's, but also they're happy together. And Anyways, good luck. Good luck. I'm enjoying it. I'm eating it up. I do feel like shit today, but I will probably read the rest of this book today. Honestly, I've been eating it up, so I could easily do that. Just sit in the sun. If the sun comes out, I think it's coming out a little bit right now. But that's the update. That's everything. Bada bing, bada boom. Gaze. Also, like, you know, I did not remember. There was this. I brought up the fact that there's almost won the book called or book club. I rather miscalled the book called almost won for the May book, and there's one person who tried to cheat winning just because of the name, and I made jokes when that was happening that he just really wants to read Gaze Mutt. Not remembering that on like page 11 they're going at it. So that's a funny joke I get to say for the rest of my life now. I'm never gonna drop that. And that's that. Oh, hi, finally finished book. Days later. Whoops. I would like everyone to know for the May the Force read with you readathon for the smuggler prompt. I didn't realize that's what I was using this book for that readathon, which is, I think the theme of the prompt is to read a character who is different gender or sexual orientation as you, which as both the main characters are gay men and not me. So right, but the fact that Joss is a smuggler and I got it for smugglers, hilarious. I am funny. So funny. Past me knew what she was doing. Anyways, yeah, it's 5 stars. 5 stars. I will be honest, I did skim I think it's possibly the longest chapter in the book, where Gareth is briefly taken by some people to get some information. It's like the second to last chapter or something like that. I think so, because I think it goes Joss's chapter, and then no, maybe it's the third to last. Maybe it's Joss's chapter, and then Gareth's very long chapter of that, and then a chapter of Joss finding him, and then the like ending instead of an epilogue, an actual ending. Imagine. Anyways, that Gareth chapter, listen, I've read it twice before this. I don't need to read it again. Like, it's not bad. I'm just like, okay, yeah, they're evil people. Oh no, I already know what's gonna happen. So I just skimmed through that part. Mostly because it is due to the library. I didn't realize this until yesterday. In 7 minutes. Whoops. Anyways, book, good book. I should buy it, honestly, because I read it a lot. I read it every year since it's come out, and it only came out mid 2023, I believe, and the sequel came out late 2023. I did contemplate picking up the sequel again, which isn't bad. Like, it's a good book. I rated it 4 stars when I read it. I just didn't like it as much because their relationship just didn't hit the same as Joss and Gareth. I don't know what is up with Joss and Gareth's relationship, but something about it hit so hard. And I am high-key obsessed still. I love them. Thank you very much. Anyways, book, good book. I don't think I need to say much more. I went in depth about what it is the last time I updated you, so this is just an update to tell you, yeah, I did it. Sadly, I do have to read other books instead of the other ones for this vlog, because library loans, fucking annoying. I know, right? How dare they? Never mind, I should start another vlog. Is one of the books I should start / read soon is for a different vlog. I don't know what my brain's on anymore. I'm on 16 different levels. Anyways, I read this. I may slowly start Sweet Pea. I remember Sweet Pea being fast. Sweet Pea is the only one out of all 4 of these that I've read only once prior. So we'll see. I think that was in 2023 as well. beach read, there was a period of time where I was like reading it every January and August because their names are January and August. And I remember January of 2021, I think that was my third read of it. And before that, I think it was a 4 or 4.5, but then it hit differently because a girl with some personal things that January, oh, I went through. I hope her name's actually January and I'm not making that up. I remember his name is August, but it was hitting a little hard at that time. And it's been 5 stars ever since. And I used to read it every January and August. It was like clockwork for me. But I haven't read it in a while. But I do have beach read tea now. I told you about this, I think. So, you know, that one should be fast because I've read it so many times, even if it has been a few years. And then Week to Be Wicked. I know that's gonna be fast. I read it like every year. It's just gonna be a fun time living in that world again. I think I'm in my romance era. Can you tell? I'm gonna head off. Bye. Peace. I'm gonna do other work quickly. And maybe I will start Sweet Pea soon-ish. Because I do want to rewatch the show. And I also want to continue the series. Though the rest of the series isn't on Kindle Unlimited, so I hope my library has some. Honestly, I haven't checked that yet. Shit, that's gonna be annoying if it's not. Hello, hi. It's been a long week, fam, since I've updated you. I haven't done much reading because of it. Anyways, ignore me as I drank coffee throughout this because it's 10 minutes to 3, which is when I try to cut myself off from caffeine, except for rare occasions. So I made one like 30 minutes ago, so I gotta finish it while it's still warm as well. Updates. I did start 2 books for this vlog, so I have that going for me. My phone updated the other day, and I think it changed the auto quality, so it's better now. Is that a thing? It just looks better. I don't know. Also, do we love that I stole my sister's big giant flannel? About that, she's away, which will be important for some of the stuff that's happened in my life the last like 3 days, honestly. She left Saturday. And a big thing about her leaving was that I think I brought up that I was gonna film Read With Me's while she was gone because I was gonna use her desk for that, right? And I did start that with Beach Read, which I got 31 pages in, filming 1. Yes, I did forget that I can't have my phone camera quality or my camera quality at the max because it will fill up the data so fast, and then it won't matter because I'll have to lessen the quality to even be able to upload into my editing software for my editing software to even think about loading it. So it doesn't matter. I can't make it be 4K either way. Anyways, so that caused like a little bit of issues filming / editing, but it was like not that bad. But it was the first sign of things going wrong this week. So yeah, started this. It's good. When is it not, honestly? And then started this one. I'm much further in this one if you couldn't tell. I'm 110 pages. 110. I want to see how many is it? Oh, also, so like a big part of this is that I didn't even give a synopsis of Beach Read. I'm pausing Beach Read because I'm full force focusing on this one for the recording setup is easier if I don't switch back and forth. I just do one. So I'm gonna go full force into this one. Because I've been having a time reading this because my week's been chaos and this has been my comfort. Okay. So part of this is that she has the fossil of some giant lizard footprint and she needs to go to a conference in Edinburgh to give a talk about it. And then she'll win a shit ton of money. And the deal is he transports her there. Because, like, women are allowed to travel alone. Right? So he transports her there. She'll be ruined by society because they aren't married. But that's fine. Because she'll have her academia career started, right? Jump started. And then she will give him the winnings money so that he can spend the rest of the time until his birthday in London, living the life he wants to live, right? Because he doesn't get his inheritance until his birthday. So his options are either live a place where it does not help, like he's given him some PTSD. It gives, like, it awakens his PTSD a little bit. And his cousin Brom, listen, I liked Brom in the first one, but at least this reread, I recognize Brom's a bitch. He just assumes, and the way that Colin clocks this too, he assumes that what worked for him as a man, also with PTSD, would work for Colin. And Colin's like, no, that's not what I need. I know what I need. Just let me do this. And if I'm in a place where I can get better, there's like an option, like there's a chance. And instead of Bram's like, no, either get married or suck it up until your birthday. So with the money from the winnings, she will give him, for doing this for her, he should be able to live until his birthday, off that money, right? So it's them traveling from Spindle Cove to Edinburgh to do this, and all the chaos that happens throughout, and flirtations. I keep on closing the page that I was on, and I need to check the page I'm on, because if I read like 55 pages an hour, right? 354, so that's 240. 240 divided 55 is, yeah, by Wednesday I should finish this. I should be able to finish this in time. I don't know in time for what. If I do this, because I am doing hour-long ones. Anyways, the reason why I was thinking about giving you the whole actual what's happening is because it wasn't until this time I read it that I realized the fossil, I like knew that, as there tells you, like, the first line of the author's note is what the fossil is of. It's an iguanodon. I didn't click in my brain that that's my favorite dinosaur. That's what the MacGuffin is, my fossil of my favorite dinosaur. That, hilarious. Also, the way this bitch found a fucking dinosaur footprint, found proof of dinosaurs, and the shit she goes through in the last, like, 50 pages of this book. Wild. I think Minerva deserves all the accolades. Thank you very much. Anyways, my chaotic week has been, I already talked about the filming issues. Tuesday was fine. I got work done Tuesday. We love that for me. We love that. I mean, there was, like, a little bit of, like, other people's chaos. But it wasn't chaos with me. And then Wednesday, I just had to go through all the clothes I own and get rid of half of them. And because I had to wash a lot of clothes, 2 loads worth. And of course, it wasn't until I was about to put the second load in the dryer and take, like, the first one and fold it and all that stuff, that I realized the dryer was broken. The belt broke. It's like not a new thing. It's happened before, but, like, it starts annoying. All my clothes are finally dry and was able to put them away like 5 minutes ago. Like, this is an actual issue. And then, so that was my chaos, like, all Wednesday afternoon, all Wednesday night. I was not having a good time after that. And so I woke up Thursday morning, yesterday morning, okay, yesterday was hell. But a new outlook on life. I may still have a pile of wet clothes just sitting in my room, but that's beside the point. Right? Like, we can just, like, have a good attitude about the day and continue on. Especially since it was a streaming day. And then go to make my coffee first thing in the morning. And the milk with the best sell by date of June 2nd was expired when I put it in my milk. I'm still not okay about that. I'm so mad. my mom very kindly stopped by the store and got me frozen pizza and more milk after work. We love her for that. And she was like, I don't know about this milk because the expiration or the sell-by date is the 30th of May. And she's like, and I'm just like, but I was able to actually make proper coffee today. I was not yesterday. I was not having a good time. So immediately my day just went in the shitter, and then I just played games today because fun. But you know what made the day better? Reading like 60 pages of this. This was a good time. Did I mention I'm also filming Read With Me's this one? May not have. Maybe have. And then, oh, the thing that broke today, I got up in the morning. I was like, I'm gonna get the house clean first thing. Because that's like the main thing I had to do today. For the vacuum to not have any suction. No airflow. So I spent like 20 minutes in the basement taking apart the whole entire vacuum system. But I fixed it. I fixed it with the help of my sister on video call. We fixed it. And that's been my chaotic week. So this is my comfort right now. And I love Tessa Dare for that. Also, I have gotten people to read the what's the other series by her I love? Duchess Steele series? I don't remember the name of the actual series. Because I'm pretty sure Duchess Steele is the name of the first one. And then it's something, Wallflower Wager, and Brad Test is the one that's not out. Anyways, she read the second one. I think she read the second one, or maybe she just read the first one. She had previously read the second one accidentally first. And so she started the third one, which has surpassed this one as my favorite Tessa Dare. So I'm very happy about that. I think I'm the only person in the book club who has started this one. But that's fine. I'm having a good time reading it. And Tessa Dare's good at making me just relax and calm down. Like, technically I'm working, getting work done while I'm reading it, but I'm also just sitting there having a great time. Trying not to laugh my ass off filming the Read With Me. So that's been this update. 10 minutes to tell you that I've read a grand total of 140 more pages in a week. We don't need to talk about it. Okay, I have an excuse called this whole week, everything hurts. I just want to go to bed and wake up Wednesday. Because this whole weekend, the next 2 days after that are going to be chaos too. We need to be at this angle so this can be here. Because it's accurate. Where's book? Before I moved everything back, I should have filmed this update after filming the last Read With Me. But I filmed 2 more. I finished this bad boy. Well, I finished a bunch more, but I filmed 2 more today. The last day of May. I did it in time. We should all clap. I had a great time. Yes, did I remember everything? Yeah. Did I still have a great time, like, starting a scene knowing what was gonna happen? Like, I knew when they went, and couldn't find, like, an inn or anything, and they went into a shepherd's hut to spend the night, that would be the night that she learns the full extent of his dark past, but also they make a lang fully. They do other things. They definitely do other things that would definitely make her look tainted in the eyes of society and whatnot. Yes, I did know that. Did I know the whole time that they would get there just barely in time, but without certain things? Try not to spoil. I realized I was in the process of spoiling it. And her being a woman not being allowed in, despite the fact that she spends the money. God. Anyways, I knew what was gonna happen with all that, but I was still in it, having a great time, because I understood Colin's stress about getting there in time, with everything they needed, because in his eyes, she already loved him. She's already said this, right? They've already been together. And his 2 things when they left was that he wouldn't take her virtue, and he would get her there on time. And he already took her virtue, so he has to get her there in time, or else he's not worth her love. That's how his brain works. And she has to be like, not how it works. I still love you. I loved you back when I thought the chances or that we weren't gonna make it anyways. Like, so what's the point? Like, of you, blah blah blah. Also the fact that he goes through the torture of being on his own for multiple nights for at least a few weeks. I think a month, because I think they say it's a few months before his birthday. And then it cuts to, actually I think it does tell you when it cuts to. Let me find it. I'll find it eventually, don't worry. 2 weeks, okay. So like, this whole journey has been a week, right? And at the end of it, he's all like, yeah, I want to marry you. Not, initially he does propose because he took her virtue, right? And she's like, I love you. I want you to marry me not because of my virtue, but because you love me too. And that's the only way, except I'd rather be penniless, drag of society, than have that type of marriage, right? And so he's all like, no, I do love you, and I do want to marry you, but like, I want to court you until my birthday, which is months away. When he can't sleep alone, he does manage to do it. It's just easier when she's there for him to reach towards. I feel fine about that. Also, the fact that in her head, she's like, I can't fix him because I'm just a woman and he's up. Like, I can't fix him. That's not how it works. I can't fix his trauma magically after all these years. After nearly 2 decades. But I can ease the burden. Love that. Anyways, so he's all like, we will wait the multiple months so people don't assume that when I stole your virtue too, that you're marrying me just for my money or any of that stuff. That we're actually marrying for love. And then the fact that 2 weeks pass and they can't wait anymore. They're like, no. We need to be together. The way his cousin Rom is just like immediately like assuming that they got married. Apparently everyone does. And all this stuff. And he's just like, nope. Didn't marry her to get my money. She didn't marry me to get my money. Great times. Anyways, 5 stars still. Also all the little interjections about Kate, I think that's her name, and Thorpe, I think those are their names, which are the characters of the next full-length novel. I think there's a novella in between that is the older sister Diana and the blacksmith, which I wasn't the biggest fan of. And then, but it was funny reading the mother's letter being all like, see, now Diana can get a duke if you were able to get a viscount. Ha ha ha. That's so funny knowing that she ends up with a blacksmith. But what was I gonna say? Or something. Oh, the next actual full-length novel is Kate and Thorpe. And, you know, reading their, like, everything, maybe 25%, there'd be a chapter that has to do with everybody in Spindle Cove. And usually it would show scenes between the two of them, right? To, set up their relationship for the next book as what happens, right? And reading those, I was like excited to read the next one, and then I remembered I don't like that one. I think I gave that one 3 or 3.5 stars. I was like, I liked the first one 5 enough. I think I still have it as 5 stars because it was before I read this. But other than that, I think this is the only one I actually actively really enjoyed. First of them, I had so much, I like was so prepared to love all the others. They seemed such my type of things. A lot of them did, and they weren't it, and that's sad. But this one still hits. Oh, another important thing for this vlog. I don't have it. I can't show it to you. It's not gonna get here until after this vlog goes up probably. But my sister's boyfriend owes me a book for reasons, and he went to Barnes and Noble today, and I gave them a list of books because it's a small one, so like hopefully one of them they could find. Hilariously, didn't have any Tessitors. I did initially start with the whole entire Duchess series. What is that series called? I can never remember, but that whole series, because Wildflower Wager, the third one, is Not my favorite to stare. But I also want those ones, right? To go next to this one. Didn't have any of those, but it did have Secret Lives of Country Gentlemen. So I can reread that same 50 pages over and over again. And I told him that's what I was going to do with it. And he went, alright. You have fun with that? I think people assume I'm crazy. And I may be. Also, I did realize that it could win for the book club in August. Because if it's that prompt. That is fine. I'll just read it again. No, I'll read the sequel then. Imagine. Anyways, I'm gonna go. Because it is past 10 p.m. Yeah, it's nearly 11 p.m. I haven't even marked this as done on like Goodreads or my tracker or anything. And I have to get up in the morning to film a 24-hour vlog. That will go before this. So I'm gonna go do that. Goodbye. Until I actually finish Beach Read, imagine, or read Sweet Pea. I'm more excited to read Sweet Pea because I read a book. I think I brought up the book. How to Kill Men and Get Away with It, I think is the name of it. It was a book that was like, synopsis wise was giving similar vibes as Sweet Pea. Right, so I thought I would like it. I didn't. I really didn't. It was not good. But it did make me still want to read Sweet Pea. The plan was to either make me want to read Sweet Pea even more with it by either me liking it and being like, oh, I should reread Sweet Pea, or me hating it and me being, wow, Sweet Pea was much better. I should go reread it. And that's what's happening in my brain right now. So maybe that one will be the next one, and then Beach Read will just exist. I don't know. Hi. What are you doing down there? Oh, very interesting. Oh, yeah. She says, it's my bedtime. It's my bedtime. I need my bedtime pets. Uh-huh. For the most normal dog. I come to you as a mess, and not really a hot one. Hot temperature wise. My hair needs to be washed, the eczema's kicking my butt, which is why I haven't been reading for any vlog, let alone this one. Oh yeah, hear me out. I did read the sequel to Gentleman's Guide to something, the one that I read that I now have the physical book of thanks to my sister's boyfriend. Very excited to reread those 50 pages over and over again. Which is the Nobleman's Guide to Seducing a Scoundrel. Which I did do in a separate vlog, which I think was the Wheel chooses how many hours I read for a week vlog. So the very basic version of my review is upping it to a 4.5 from a 4 because some aspects are better knowing what is happening or the reasoning behind certain character actions the whole time. And that is all I will say about that. In the end. The real reason I'm here, I'm like, how far? 66, about 2/3 of the way through Sweet Pea. Most of that today. That's all I've done today. I'm doing great. I forgot how long this is. This is like just short of 500 pages. I remember reading the book that I was like, maybe it gives me similar vibes, maybe reading it will make me want to read Sweet Pea. Remember that whole thing from like a month and a half ago for me? Yeah. But my main complaint was that I felt like it was playing on that, but like not well done. I didn't understand the assignment. Maybe it did. Because they are more similar than I realized. That one was more social media wise, so that could lend why I didn't like that one as much as Sweet Pea. But that being said, some complaints I had are also things in Sweet Pea. Furthermore, I'm not having a great time. I'm not 100% sure on this, but I'm willing to bet when I first read this was back before I had Storygraph, so I wasn't doing half stars because this gives 100% 3.5 stars. Right, it does not give 4 stars, it gives 3.5. Honestly, if I continue the series, will really depend on whether or not it will be easy to get them from the library. because it's the only one on Kindle Unlimited in this series. So if I can get the next one at least easily from my library, I'll test it out. But if not, no. I should check that now, actually. I'll just like rewatch the show, which is similar-ish. Okay, yeah, no, neither one of my libraries has the rest of the series in any format. So yeah, and it only has Sweet Pea and audiobook. Honestly, I'm at the point, if I didn't know, because I read this because of a book club, and most of the people in the book club read it via audiobook, right? And so if I knew that they all despise the audiobook, if I didn't know that, I totally would have picked up the audiobook today and just read the rest of it. Alright. That's the type of vibe we're feeling here. Like, I can put the second one on Notify Me if they ever get it. But I don't think they ever will. I mean, they don't even have the ebook of the first one, so like, why would they get the ebook of the second one? Right? But I don't think this is gonna be continuing the series type thing. And I think this is gonna get a lower rating than I had initially, which is upsetting. I am on the end stretch. Like, this is the part that I remember the most. Which is funny because like the past like third of the book, a lot of it has been her being like complaining about how her boyfriend Craig wants to have a baby. Meanwhile, she knows that he's cheating with a coworker. And dealing with a bunch of own personal stuff and doesn't want children. She's like, I am a serial killer psychopath. I should not be a mother. Like, no. I don't like loud noises. When somebody chews too loudly, I get a murderous rage. And you want me to raise a baby? Knowing full well that he will not take part of the raising, even though he's all like, I will. She knows. That being said, one of her friends has recently had a baby and dealing with the fact that her husband or her partner is not really being there, basically. And so she's having to do everything on her own, and she is drowning. Very postpartum depression happening thing, and she shows up one afternoon and just like easily puts like this baby who has so much trouble sleeping, she's easily puts this baby to sleep, and like cleans up the whole place for her. Like, she is good with kids and animals, and that's like a whole thing for her where she's like, why would I harm them? No, in fact, if she sees somebody harm them, she harms that person, right? Anyways, it is making me decide that I'm going to be reading 3 more books for this vlog. I hate myself, don't worry. I hate myself too. The first one of point is the first in the Mindfuck series. Every once in a while I question it, and especially now that I have Kindle Unlimited again, I like, what if like 6 months later recognize that, actually maybe a full year later at this point, recognize that the series wasn't as good as in the moment. Like, it's probably a 4-star series now after that moment instead of 5. That being said, I did really like the first one. The first one is a lot more, I don't know why I'm going to this now, but much more about the day-to-day aspect of what she's doing, and how she's not caught already and all this stuff, because they're both serial killers who kill bad people, and that's why it's connected, right? Right, so there's that whole like, it's better in that because it actually goes into that. After a while in the rest of the series, it just drops those aspects, especially when it comes to the last one. The last one just goes full off the walls, like, yeah. So I do want to reread the first one of that, and just the first one. I'm not gonna continue the rest of them. And then we already talked about Beach Read. I do need to finish my reread of that, but also I don't have a physical book of this other one down here with me. But My books growing up were Vampire Academy, Percy Jackson, and Project Paper Doll by Stacey Cade. I don't think anybody else has read this series in the whole entire universe. And let me tell you, every like 2 years I reread the first one. It's so good. I love the first one. Thank you very much. It's got fake dating. How am I not supposed to like it? Right? Anyways, I think this is actually the book that got me into fake dating trope. It's what started it all. Anyways, I want to reread that one because I've been having the itch. Right? So that's the update. I'll update you when I finish with B. And hopefully by that point I've also made progress in one of those other ones. On top of all the other things I have to read. Why am I like this? Listen, we're not talking about what my hair's doing. I just got up. I've been braiding it at night because it's supposed to be better for it. And then the volume is even more than I'm used to. And so I don't know. Sweepy. I finished it like 2 days ago. It was like I got so close to finishing and then I just basically stopped reading it. I read like a chapter a day, which is like 3 pages. And then finally forced myself to sit down and finish it. Right, the other day. Because, and hear me out, we already talked about how I didn't like it that much. That amount that I had left was the last 100 pages plus I think like 50 pages. And that last 100 pages is everything I remembered about enjoying the book the first time. It was actually the enjoyable parts. So I really like the last 100 pages, which is probably why I rated it 4 stars the first time. Because I did check, I did have Storygraph when I read it the first time. I don't know why I gave it 3.5. Or not 3.5. I gave it 4. Anyways, yeah. Maybe me as an adult, I say as it was like 3 years ago. I was an adult then too. I've come to the realization that the ending of a book being really good does not mean the whole book is good. I mean, case in point, I've finished books earlier this year where the ending was the best part. Start the next one in the series and then almost immediately DNF it because everything they set up with that great ending didn't happen. Right? Like that's been a thing. I'm big brain, big brain. So, basically the same thing's gonna happen. I'm gonna try to get my hands on In Bloom, the next one, and hopefully, you know, I have a feeling that's gonna be the same thing where it's just not. It's gonna be more of what most of what this book was. And so I won't have a good time with it, so I'll DNF it, and then I'll never have to think about the series ever again. So it is currently on my reading series. It's on the low level, but still, instead of on top DNF, it is on low side. It's currently being counted as a series I'm reading, which is annoying. I did give it 3.5 stars. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know what else to say. I already talked so long about this book, so we can talk about The Risk, the first book in the Mindfuck series. In case you don't know, there is like 10 hours of podcasts of me talking about this series. I don't know why. I hate it. Nobody watch it. Because I don't know why. Like going through and rereading it, a lot of the highlights from it is just what I would do is for books like these, I would highlight and then like giant chunks of information, and then I would just go through all these highlights and take notes based on those highlights. So I think that's why, because I just didn't know what was going to be important or not, so I just highlighted like whole pages at a time. Like there was like at one point 119 notes for a 170 page book at one point. Like it was insane. I think that's why like it should totally be 2 hours for all 5, not 2 hours for the last one. Right. Anyways, I did tell the fish that I was gonna reread the first one and not to worry, don't be concerned, and I'm just gonna reread the first one. And they said, I don't fucking believe you. And now I think I'm not believing me. Here's the thing,
I think, similarly, the first one is a really good setup. I really like the first one. It's a good setup for the rest of the series. The issue is that after this, it goes off the rails. I don't remember if Sidetracked is the second or third one, but Sidetracked, it does not follow the same, like, her play. She just goes and starts killing other random people that don't have to do with her revenge, right? Hence Sidetracked, right? And then, I don't know, I think that's third, maybe? You'd think I would know this. You think, after spending so much time reading this series, I should, the whole point of me saying this is I am halfway through. I'm 51% of the way through The Risk. So, you know, no, Sidetracked is the second one. Scarlet Angel, I think, is the one where one of the serial killers he's hunting down finds her because of her connection to him, and she kills him, but one of his co-workers sees it happen, and so it's a lot of, like, her trying to handle it while also relationship stuff. And then the next one is them getting to the town where it all started and setting up book 5, and then book 5 is the end, the final showdown, blah blah blah. So, you know, the first one's the only one that's like this, and I like it the most for that reason. I say, as all the others are 4.5s, and the fourth one is 5 stars. I'm willing to bet that's because of the ending. I think that's because of the ending. I'm pretty sure that's the one where he figures out she is the killer. So, anyways, I may have to try to force myself to stop reading the series because they are, despite the subject matter, right, they are very easy to read. Which is probably why for dark romances, it's the dark romance I like, because it's easy to read despite all this. It's easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. Also, I don't know why, explain it to me, but I remember when I first read them, I would just sit in bed before I went to bed, sipping my tea, reading a few chapters. And that's how I got through it for the podcast. I'm doing the same thing now, and I'm having a good fucking time, so I may just do it with the whole series. I know I shouldn't. But also it'd be a good idea because I don't think the rest of the series is as good as I thought in the moment, and it has been over a year. It's been like a year and a half at this point. Almost, yeah, because it was February. So, what if I do that? I have issues. Just me continuously rereading books instead of all the books on my TBR. Imagine. Anyways, I'm having a good time. I may up this one to a 5. And then if I do that, I'm gonna have to go through them all, so I can change them to after the fact thoughts, especially with like knowledge of everything, because I've read it before. Is it still enjoyable knowing all that stuff, blah blah blah. Anyways, that's the update. I don't know what this rambling was. I haven't had caffeine yet. That's what this rambling was. I'm gonna go and I'll finish this book hopefully today, and I don't know, maybe I'll read the other books for this vlog at some point. Hello, it's uncaffeinated meat to inform you. I've realized an issue with this, which is a good chunk of these I own physically, of course, because they're my favorites, right? All right. And I am a bitch with 22 library loans. There's constantly something about to be returned, so finding time to finish one for this vlog is insane. There is one that came in from the library that could be used for this vlog because it is a reread, but I don't think it's labeled as a favorite right now, so that's my excuse as for why I'm not gonna use it for this vlog. I'm just gonna read it in my free time, right? That being said, this is my 3rd time reading it, so it'll probably be a favorite after this, right? So it's just the other physical one after, which will probably be read within this week, honestly, because this week it's going to be moderately cool, and I'm trying to fill reading needs as I read physical books. right? To pre-film a ton, right? Makes sense in case I go on vacation suddenly or something. I don't know. Or I lose power or something. So that's what I was doing with this. But then I wasn't reading because one, all the library loans, but also it was too hot to film up there. Don't worry, I did bulk of that this week. Finished it last night. It's still 5 stars. If it stopped being 5 stars, you can whack me upside the head, because what the hell am I on? right? Because this is the book, this and Pestilence by Laura Thalassa. That fact makes me laugh very much. Or the 2 books that got me back into reading as an adult. Right? I think this is also like the first book I got from Book of the Month. Yeah, that makes sense. Because this was still, I don't think we were technically roommates anymore, because the pandemic made it so we weren't roommates anymore, but I was visiting her when I read it the first time, and that was before my dad died. And then the second time was like a month after he died, and like 8 months after that, and I was at her place again. I think every time I've read this was at her place, actually. Minus this time. But you know, it became a thing where I would read it either every August or January. Because that Ed, let me tell you, that 1 month after I went through similar things, it hit. It was already hitting, but then it hit differently, and there may have been tears. Anyways, it's good. It's still good. It's still 5 stars. I do have to read Book Lover. That's another one that I own. I don't own it physically, but I have to read it for another vlog soonish. And I'm scared too. I've been postponing that one because I didn't like People We Meet on Vacation much. I'll still watch the adaptation to get Emily her bag, but you know, I didn't like that one as much. And so this one and that one are the only ones I've read. Despite the fact that what I've heard, like, one, everything I heard about Book Lovers is so me-coded. Also, it came out the day before my birthday, and the cover's blue. That's so me-coded, right? 2, everything I've heard about reading Emily Henry's, if you like this one, you'll like Book Lovers. If you like People We Meet on Vacation, you won't like Book Lovers. Like, it's one of those things where you like one or the other of her first 2, and then that affects which ones you like of her later books, right? Also, I think because of me liking this one, I'll like the Big Beautiful Life or whatever the newest one is that isn't that romance aspect-y. Because that one's giving a mix of not Addie LaRue, what am I saying? Evelyn Hugo and this. And I love both of those. So I think I could really like that one and Book Lovers. And I need to read Book Lovers. So I'm going to finally push myself to read Book Lovers. I'm scared. I will do it. This is 5 stars. Spectacular. There will be many read with me reading this coming out at some point. They're just sitting in my private. Also, I couldn't remember if one of the other times I read it I filmed Read It With Me, but I'm not sure. Also, I swore I'd read this more than 4 times, but what do I know? Anyways, I finished it. I read it. I gotta go figure out where it belongs on my shelves, because I forgot. Maybe I'll just, I know I have this pile of Book of the Month books that I tabbed on my main bookshelf, but like, and I know this one isn't tabbed, though I could totally highlight a bunch of this. But I may just put it there, because the only other place I can think where I would put it, / where it belongs, is in the other shelf where all of my Book of the Month books that I haven't read are, and then behind all those are the ones that I have read. And I don't want it to be hidden, right? This is like one of my favorites. Of course, it shouldn't be hidden, so I may put it in that pile despite the fact that it's not tagged. I don't know. Anyways, I will read the rules at some point. Because why sci-fi romance? Don't ask questions. I don't know why I love. It's the book that started my love for fake dating. Honestly. And that realization, like last month, it's so funny to me. Hello, hi, welcome to an episode of we're just trying to do things, including cutting off half her hair in the process of this being filmed for months. I finished the last book, right? And I kind of hate everything about this setup, which is great because that means I get to move my chair back after this and then never move it again. It's fine. It's fine. Book. I
am I listen, so much has happened since the last time we talked, including me getting sick and having a fever, okay? Um and so the only thing I could read without feeling like I was dying was this bad boy. Which is a YA favorite of mine. I was trying to figure out how I got my hands on this, because this isn't like one of the popular YAs, right? YA romances, marketed towards girls. Though this one has violence. Like, yeah, it's got like cute boys and mean girls and stuff like that, but it's also got like Star Wars references, and instead of like fantasy with like fairies or whatever and little magic, it's sci-fi with murder and killing people. So fun times, fun times. And I think what happened is that when I started reading Vampire Academy, when I was in the middle of book 2, I believe, the teacher I was borrowing the books from was leaving the school. So I bought the whole entire series as like a box set on Amazon. I love how whenever I try to move the camera, it just stops recording. It's really nice. I love it. Also, if this is not straight, neither am I. It's fine. Fine. Anyways, I bought that box set of Vampire Academy. This is back when like the movie was coming out. That's why I have the movie poster version. Somewhere it's on the unhaul pile over here. I see it down here. And then in that I got for free shipping, I got the box set of the Cassandra Clare Clockwork Princess series, that one, which is also on this unhaul pile, still in their box. I put them back in their box. I was reading the audiobook, so it was pointless for me to buy those 16 years ago. I was gonna say really 16 years ago, but it was like 12, 13, yeah. And I think, because that was just recommended, and so was, I think, the box set of this series, which hilariously, book 2 is also on this unhaul pile. I do have plans next month to possibly reread to see if me with a fully formed frontal lobe, not 20 years old, still dealing with coughing issues, apparently from this stupid cold. Anyways, I want to try those again as an adult to see if I like them more now. But this follows Arain. That's how I've been pronouncing in my head this whole time. So we're gonna go with this. Tucker, who has stolen the identity of a dead girl, right? The father of the dead girl worked as like a security guard, as the head of security at this like genetics lab, kind of, that in this small town in Minnesota, I think. Right. Which is how he met this RA, aka 107. He is the actual father of the original RA who died due to a rare cancer when she was really young, right? And so one day at the lab there's an explosion, and he decides to rescue the test subject and give her the name and the identity of his dead daughter, and now she's a teenager in school. It's like been nearly a decade later. So that's who we're following. We're following the science experiment. Cough, cough. Well, another character as well. Because she is a combination of alien DNA and human DNA. Let me tell you, when you figure out in the later books how they did that. Anyways, they were already, when she was like 6, 8, somewhere in that age range when she was rescued, that she was already in the process of them teaching her and forcing her, really, because there's a lot of abuse. Like, there's a medical trauma, but there's also like withholding food and water to try to force her to do things, emotional abuse, neglect, stuff like that, right? Like, it's this whole thing where she's viewed as not human, so what's the point of like humane ethics type things, because she's not human. I'd like to argue she is half human. Right? Anyways, so they were already training her how to kill people with her mind. Literally could stop something's heart with her mind. That's the main thing right now, is that she doesn't have her superpowers. Because the last thing she did before that explosion was kill the mouse they forced her to kill. Listen, there's this one scientist who is scared of her after that incident, which, like, yeah, sure, okay, this kid could kill people, but also, like, you witnessed her being abused for like weeks, going through what is considered like this is like real torture, right? That they don't do to prisoners of war anymore, like real fucking torture that they were doing towards this child. And now, right, anyways, and so she did do it against Mouse, and then because of the trauma of doing that, plus all she went through, she kind of just like put up a block and can't use her magic anymore. So now her best friend Gemma, one of those two, is trying to get in with the it crowd, and the leader of the it crowd is the granddaughter of the head scientist. So as you can imagine, she doesn't like her. Valid. She can still read minds, because that's just a natural thing she can do, but she can't really move things anymore. But with the mean girl bullying her best friend, and her like being able to put herself in that situation with the mean girl's grandfather and all that stuff, she does start being able to use magical powers. And then so the mean girl is like, I want revenge on her because she doesn't like me bullying people. And so she gets one of her, I almost said Goonies, I guess that would work, crones, whatever, Zaid Bradshaw, who is the younger son of the chief of police, who is an abusive, his father's abusive, his mother left, like ran off, nobody knows where she is, and I do because I read the letter books, but and his brother is off in college and he's like the better son and all this stuff. And so it's like a lot of him just trying to live the day to day, and then he puts himself in the position to do this prank slash bullying on Arain, which is to fake date her and make her feel like she's in love with him, like they're in love, blah 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 blah, and then he will ugly, like very loudly break up with her at a party that mean girl throws. And then, oh no, I don't really get mean girl's plan here. Listen, yeah, I don't really get the plan. I don't get the plan. But that's the plan. He put himself to be the one to fake date her because, and hear me out, he wants to get a little bit of revenge himself on Mean Girl because she's using things that they had in a private emotional conversation to manipulate other people and also him. And he's all like, nah, shit, bitch, I don't like it when it's done towards me. No. But also, he has kind of had an interest in Nari for like a year because they had math class together, and like she does her math homework in pen, and she always purposely misses 3 questions. This is this whole thing because she's smarter than everyone. She passed like high school math level when she was like 6, right? Because she's a super genius. So she purposely misses 3 questions on everything so that she has a B average, because she needs to be an average human. Nothing but her can stand out, right? And so now she's breaking all the rules that her father made for her to be hidden from the evil company, because he's all like, hey, let's do the fake date thing, but you also know it's fake dating, and then we don't like do this big blowout breakup in front of everybody. And so then Mean Girl gets her revenge because she told everybody there was gonna be this whole big blowout at her party, but there's not gonna be a big blowout because we know what's gonna happen, right? And she initially says no. Then there's more bullying on best friend, and best friend's like, no, we can't be friends anymore, because you make me look bad. Listen, I won't talk about that. Anyways, and so then she's all like, okay, fine, yes, we can do that. And then they start hanging out to do this fake dating plan, and she's the first person that makes him feel like he can actually be himself, right? And he is the first person that makes her feel like she's a fucking human being. Secrets come out, including the main one, kind of obvious, and then oh no, whatever will we do? Now we're being hunted by this big giant company. Oh no. Listen, 4.5 stars. I still have issues with some of it. Also, we may be questioning how I, a bitch who hates reading bullying now, read this, where there's bullying a lot in the first 50 to 100 pages. That's like big for the setup, right? For this whole entire book. Um, and I first read it in the time when I was being bullied a lot. And how I managed to handle it, I don't know how I did it the first time, but since then I usually just skim that part, let's be real. I know what happens. Heart to heart. Let me tell you, reading it, knowing who is gonna be betrayer, really fun. Really fun. We love that. Anyways, listen. I think Zane Bradshaw set me up to be a Henry Cavill girl because he is described as being Superman-esque. One of her media trainings, societal trainings in the lab was to watch the original Supermans, and she always viewed Clark Kent as one, like, somebody she could relate to, but also like the epitome of male specimen, right? I get it. I get it for Henry Cavill. And Zane Bradshaw is an easy comparison, apparently. So you got the damaged, brooding guy who has dark hair and kind of looks like Superman and has a little bit of trauma to make it a little spicy, but he's also the popular boy. And then she's like the nobody that nobody knows about, but she's secretly special, and he can't stop thinking about her, and he just wants to kiss her. Listen, at least once a week I think about the makeout scene in the car in this book. The only book only scene in the second book I like is the scene where they kiss in a bathroom, I think. Listen, you can't knock me for what I love. Anyways, it's still a 4.5. Still love it. And also a great thing to read when I have a fever and I can't do anything else, honestly. And that's that. That's everything. I was trying to remember what I read. And I remember Circular to Country Gentleman, this, Beach Read. And I think I read the first of the Mindfuck series. But I don't know. I swear there were other ones. I don't know. But this can finally go up now. This was supposed to go up last Saturday. But then, and I was like halfway through with this, and I could have finished it Friday and then have it gotten up Saturday. But then the fever happened. So here we are, like a week later. Whoops. Anyways, I'm gonna go film stuff for the thumbnail. And watch me never do a thumbnail like this ever again. Because I hate it. I hate it. But I already set it up, so I might as well.